For the Lakers, and you really got things going, end up a plus 12, second only to LeBron. How important was that energy and just making sure that that flow got going the right way for you guys?
It was really just coming out, playing the right way, man. My team, looks at me for energy and, to pick things up when, guys are kind of, not in the, right groove or flow of offense or defense, man. So, I just come in trying to do anything I can and basically everything I can, man, to keep the ball alive on the offense end and, just limit them to one shot on defense end. And my teammates do a great job of feeding off them.
Hey, what's your early season reflection now of being a Laker, of melding with your new teammates and just how you see things playing out on the floor so far, Montrezl?
It's still a long process, man. We take it one game at a time. I take it one game at a time, and I try not to put too much on myself, try to overthink things, man. I'm on the floor with a lot of great players, as I've been, all my career, man. So it's just trying to make the game as simple as possible for those guys, and, hopefully I'll reap the rewards off of it, man. I came in this game just working hard and just working my tail off, man. It's the same thing I'm doing now.
All right, and final thing for you. We know this season is so unique, so just like you saw the Spurs twice in a row, now you get the Grizzlies twice in a row. What's the key in a regular season matchup to see a team 2 times in a row? What do you guys have to do next time?
Honestly, the same thing we did tonight, man, but a little bit harder, man. These guys came out and jumped on us early in the beginning, man, and we had to fight to come back. But we really just got to come out and be ready to play as soon as the ball is thrown up, man. I think if we do that and, carry out our defensive principles, what we want to do and take them out of, I think we'll be good. But we really just got to come out and be ready to play as soon as the ball is thrown up. I think that was the only thing that was really missing to start off tonight.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, look, you get a chance to actually unpack your suitcase, so we'll let you go back to the room, man. We appreciate it.
California Honda dealers, Chris McGee, James Worthy, Derek Fisher. We got Mike Bresnahan over here. We got Allie working from home. We got Trudell working the green room. You'll hear from all the Lakers. They get the win. They're now 3-0 on the road trip, guys. Good balance on offense, 6 guys in double figures. But really, it's the ability to defend that we've seen these last couple games, James and Fish, to defend down the stretch and close out games. 9-0 run that final 2:30 against San Antonio. Tonight, final 4:30, 13-2 run.
Yeah, I think the ability to do that, you don't want to have to depend on turning it on like that, but this team can do that. It was a sluggish start. Memphis come out shooting the lights out, and then the second quarter, the Lakers defense started to, unfold. I think Montrezl Harrell's activity on the offensive boards and Schroeder, his defense, they started to click. And I think in the second half, they showed the dominance. LeBron James, AD, they have 2 closers. And with the collective defensive effort, they did the job they needed to do and to close out the game.
2 quick thoughts. One, I was thinking earlier, when you haven't played a team in a while, typically during the season, you might not play an Eastern Conference team for a whole calendar year, depending on how the calendar goes. With this past year, with COVID and the bubble and the restart, you haven't played against some of these teams in a while. And they're having to learn some of the different personnel, new coaches, different style of play. And once they get a handle on the way the team is attacking and playing, that's when the Lakers seem to kind of figure out how to take advantage of the matchup and go ahead and close the game out. The second thought is, when you're the big brother and you're not even really worried about what little brother gets like.
And little brother's coming after you every single night.
You know he can't beat you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you let him get a few punches in, you let him get some licks in, but at the end of the day, you big brother.
I was going to kind of ask you that because James was talking about, turning it on at the end. That can be dangerous against teams like this. But then again, it's on the road, so you're happy to get the win, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's where the depth throughout the course of the season is going to come into great value for this Lakers team. Alex Caruso out, KCP out. Having guys like Wes Matthews, THT, who's developing and blossoming, those guys being able to perform at such a high level. The addition of Dennis Schroeder in the backcourt, that gives LeBron a lot more ability to not have to do so much. But then tonight, you saw in that third quarter, he kind of starts to turn it on and take control of that game and really started to impose his.
Thank you, Bill and Stu. Memphis cools off a little bit. Fish, Lakers clinging to a 2-point lead here at halftime.
Yeah, no, this is a good grit and grind type of game here in Memphis. Good to see. Got control of it during the second quarter, up by 2 at the half.
Yeah, tale of 2 quarters. I mean, obviously coming from San Antonio, out of that playoff atmosphere where you got to stay in a city for multiple days, to come into Memphis, I don't want to say they took it for granted without their star player and a couple of, but they had a slow start. Second quarter, picked it up.
Big fan of the suit game tonight, James.
Last minute, man.
That does it for the Jack in the Box halftime report. Starts right after this.
Has been wet. No matter where he's shooting this season, his two-point jumpers this year are going down at a 46% rate. That's 8 to 10% better than the previous 2 seasons. And the numbers from 3 are remarkable. The 47% from deep this year is by far his career best. I know oftentimes when it comes to a big man, you don't want them to lose sight of the inside game. But with a guy like Anthony Davis, are you okay with him shooting on average 5 threes a game?
And Allie, I'm old school. I always, preach post first and then work inside out. But with this guy right here, who used to be a guard at 6'2", and he still has all that, guard talent, I have no problem with it because he mixes it up. Mm-hmm. He'll face you and hit a 10-footer. He'll face you and step back and hit a 15-footer. He'll hit a step-back three-pointer. And then he can go by you. So Fish just demonstrated. I have no problem. His coach wants him to hit it. No one can guard him. If he's hitting the three, it's really going to be a long night because of all the other things he can do by putting the ball on the floor. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Becomes unguardable for sure. Let's take this more broad because AD isn't the only Laker heating up from the outside. As a team, they're making nearly 42% on the season, second in the NBA. They have been a bottom 10 team in three-point percentage since Kobe's last season, 2015-16. They probably won't hit 40% this year, but maybe this is sustainable to be a top 10 in the league, Fish?
Yeah, I think this is sustainable due to their personnel. This is where this team has evolved and changed a little bit. I think THT is a surprise in terms of shooting the three. Alex Caruso has improved as a three-point shooter. We saw Wes Matthews knocking down threes in San Antonio. We talked about Marc Gasol as a three-point shooting big. Dennis Schroeder shoots the three pretty well for a guard. Anthony Davis has improved as a three-point shooter. So, this is an area that the Lakers have vastly improved from a season ago when everybody talked about that being really their primary weakness offensively. That has now become a strength. And again, as they continue to improve defensively, that's going to make it really difficult for teams to talk about beating the Lakers, in particular in a 7-game series during the postseason.
Big game, when you got two of the best players who play downhill, you have to have shooters that can step up and knock down the three ball.
And when you think about it, 3 years ago, what were we talking about? 4 years ago, what did they need?
Shooting.
Three-point shooters. We tried to get a few late, didn't work out. So it's not something that just arrived this year. It's something they've been trying to do for like 2 or 3 years. So when you see Kuz starting to improve, like Fish said, Caruso hit a few last year, but I see him really starting to hit some. You got Wes Matthews. You could almost play like D'Antoni plays with this team if you wanted to, because they have 6. Tucker can hit the three. And it's crazy. I've never seen these many three-point shooters that can be consistent on one team, and I've never seen it.
Fish, take a look at this. We got more numbers. The Lakers have been shooting well everywhere. In fact, they're just the fourth team in the last 20 seasons to shoot at least 50% from the field, over 40% from three, and over 75% from the free throw line through their first 6 games back in Memphis. He spent his high school years in Memphis when his older brother Pau started his NBA career with the Grizzlies. The brothers were later traded for each other, and Mark established himself as a pillar for the grit and grind Grizzlies for over a decade. Today, the Lakers center will play his first game back on Beale Street since he was traded. Now, Gasol ranks near the top of so many all-time categories in the Grizzlies record books. First in minutes, field goals, rebounds, and blocks. Second in games, points, and assists. Such a talented and unique big man who spent 11 seasons in Memphis. And though it may not be the reception we all would have expected given the pandemic and only a few fans in attendance, you imagine the Grizz will do what they can nonetheless to honor Mark. But before we find out, let's hear from the big fella on what it is like being back in familiar territory for the first time. Earlier, he spoke with Mike.
Well, Marc Gasol, kind enough to join us. And Mark, I have to think that this is an emotional experience for you. It's the first time back to play in Memphis since you were traded. Of course, you had such a wonderful career there. And I spoke to a couple of people there. They said that you made an even bigger difference off the court than you did on the court. So I wonder if you could just take us through your emotions today.
All great feelings, all happy emotions. To be honest, it's just, you go back a little bit in time and remember all the great memories that you had on the court and especially off the court. How much, you gotta understand that I got here as a high school player, 16 years old, and left as a father of 2 kids at 34. So everything in between that happened in Memphis, and Memphis has a very special place in my heart.